Hello guys, my name is Piros and today we're going to see how we can use WireMock combined with Testcontainers for our integration tests. Now let me show you what I have in my solution. I have a series API which takes a request in the series routes with an ID as a route parameter and first checks in the series repository to get that series like the title of it, and then it makes an HTTP call to another API, the ratings API, to get the rating for that series, and then it combines the two of them and returns a series response with the ID, the title and the rating. Now in my ratings API I have also an endpoint that takes as a route parameter the series ID, checks the repository for that rating and it returns the new rating. So if I run both of these projects and I also open Postman, let me put some breakpoints, one in the series service and one in the rating one, and I send a request with the ID of BM. Now I get in my series the series called Black Mirror with the ID of BM. And then if I hit continue, I will take my rating, which is 10. And if I hit continue again, I will take back the full response, the ID, the title and the rating. Now I also have a series.integration test folder project, which is some integration tests. I have my series API factory, also a test collection, which is a bit redundant because I only have one class for test, the series tests. And now if I run these tests, that single one test actually, it will fail because it will try to make a call to the ratings API, which does not exist. So you might say, okay, you control both services, why don't you spin up the rating service? Because that would be an end-to-end test and not an integration test. In our integration test, we don't want to have other services running. That's outside of the scope of that integration test. So what we will do is to use WireMock but combined with Testcontainers. Let me show you how we can do that. I will go to my Nugget packages and I'll search for WireMock.net.testcontainers. I will install that to my integration test project, and then now back to my series API factory. I will have a private read-only I container and I will call that the WireMock container, so WireMock container, and I'll say that it is equal with a new WireMock container builder, so WireMock container builder dot build. Now we'll have that series API factory to implement the IAsync lifetime interface, and I will need to implement two methods for that, the initialize async and the dispose async. And my initialize async method, I will start the WireMock container, so I will say WireMock container dot start async, and I need to await that. And I will make that initialize async task async, and in the dispose async I will dispose the container, so WireMock container dot dispose async, and I will await that. Now if you're not familiar with Testcontainers are awesome in integration testing, because what will that do is when we run the test, we'll spin up a Docker container with a WireMock, and then we finish our test and the dispose async method will be called. It will dispose that container. They are especially awesome when working with databases in integration tests. But now I also want to set a response for a specific request, and I will do that in a very nice way. So let me show you. In my integration tests, I will create a folder and I will call that mappings. And inside that folder, I will create a JSON file and I will call that get rating. Okay, now inside that JSON I can specify a request and the response I want to get back from that request from WireMock. I can also do a lot of other stuff, for example verify the schema of the body of the request if we had one, etc. So let's keep it simple, and actually I will copy and paste the code so you don't have to see me write it. And what I say here is that given a request that is a GET request in the path rating /bm, which is the ID that we used previously, I hard-coded. The response I want to be 200 and the body I want to be that JSON with a rating of 10. Now you don't have to do it like that. You can have the body to be inside of another JSON file, etc. There is a lot of options. So we'll keep it simple. We will only define that. And back in my series API factory, before I build my container, I will say with mappings, and I need to specify the path for my mappings, and it will pass the files inside of that directory to our Docker image. So I will say path.combine and environment.current directory and my mappings. So mappings. Also I need to set that get ratings to copy if newer. Now I also want to have an HTTP client that will not call the actual series service but WireMock. So first I'm going to see services.remove all of type HTTP client factory, and then I will add my HTTP client. So service.add HTTP client. It's called ratings. I don't remember if I saw you, but in my program.cs I add an HTTP client, a named HTTP client with the name ratings and the URI of my other service. So in here is for the URI, I'm going to say that the base address equals with the new URI, and that will be HTTP and I will use string interpolation because I want to get from my WireMock container the host name, and then I want to call in the WireMock container the get public port method and pass 80, so it will return to me the port that we can access our container. And let me remove that double quotes from here and put them there. Okay, and now what we're expecting is when our series service try to call the rating service, it will call that endpoint over here, and it will return that response. So let's test it. I will run my test. And it failed. Let's go back to our service API factory, check the URI, and yeah, we were missing that. So now it should pass. If I try run that again. No, it failed because I were expecting something for another series for friends. So if I change that to BM and that to be black mirror, it should pass now. Yeah, it passed. And also if I put a breakpoint, I don't know, let's say here, and try to debug that, and I also open Docker desktop. As you can see, we have our container with the port mapping 65367 to 80, and if I go inside it and go to files and go to app admin, I can see my mappings in there that get rating JSON. So it actually copy our JSON, our get rating JSON file inside our Docker container. And since we had a request, a get request in that path, it returned 200 with that body. So that is how you can use WireMock for your integration tests and test requests and responses from another service. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a nice one.